Hey there! Thank you for stopping by my channel, Crafty Kathy. If this is the first time you've ever been here, well, let me introduce myself. I am Crafty Kathy, and I am tickled pink that you're here with me today. Anytime that you stop in, I consider you to be my family, and I would hope that you would subscribe and stick around so that you don't miss any of my episodes. All you have to do is hit that little red button to become a part of the family. Lately, I have been changing up my own decor in my home to go more with a cottage style theme. It's a sweet, soft, feminine decor style, and there's a lot of beautiful earthy tones, cozy goodness, and a lot of flowers. So let's jump on in. The other day when I was strolling through the thrift store, I found this magnetic board, and I really like the design on the outside, but the colors are totally not my style and they don't go with my home. So we're going to give it a little upcycle, and the first thing that I'm going to do is use my home decor white Adirondack, and I gave it 2 coats on the outside. The middle part that has the chevron pattern had a great big T on it that somebody had made with a Cricut machine. So I pulled that off and had to use a very fine sandpaper to get off that T as good as I could. And then I had to go over that part 3 times just to cover that up. I went to my printer and I printed off this gorgeous picture onto a piece of rice paper. Now, rice paper can be used just like I do my napkins in decoupaging. You can use it to decoupage it onto anything, and it doesn't have the wrinkles and the bother that you have with napkins. So actually, it's a lot easier to decoupage. So I wet the end of my little paintbrush like I always do, and I run it down the corners. And what I'm going to do is just rip that, because anytime that you're decoupaging something, you don't want straight edges. You want it to be ripped because it just looks more natural that way. Then I just laid my picture down exactly where I wanted it on my little magnetic board. And then I go and put a little bit of Mod Podge on the top. Actually, I put a pretty good coat. I don't want it like sopping wet and goopy, but you do want it to be a little bit thicker because rice paper is heavier than your napkins. Then I just smoothed it out with my little brayer to make sure that we didn't have any wrinkles. I have this little pad of distressing oxide, and it's kind of like our antique wax. I just picked a lighter color. The color that I have is called Weathered Twigs. It's a very light brown, and I just went around the whole thing and distressed it where I wanted to. I pulled out some of my IOD transfer books, and these come from different ones. I just wanted to put some wording on this because my picture had some French writing on it, and a lot of the IOD transfers have French writing on them, and they're so easy to add to any of your decor to make it beautiful. All you do is just pull it away from the white backing, and then you lay it down where you want to, and you use that little tool that they send to you, or you can use a credit card. You can even use your fingernail and just scratch until it comes off onto your decor. Then when the transfer is adhered, you use that piece of plastic that it was on and kind of rub it over the top of it in a circular motion. I can't talk today. And that's called burnishing it. And then I had some 320 sandpaper, and so it's a very light grit. And I just went over it very smoothly because to me, it makes the transfers look a little vintagey too. And you know that's right up my alley. I took some Waverly mineral chalk paint and I painted this cute little crown that I had made from a mold with resin last week. And after it had dried, I took some of my Debbie's DIY white wax And I'm just going to go over that cute little crown with my distressing brush, and then I wait a few seconds and then I wipe some of it back off. Then I just use my Star Bond glue to put it down on my board. And I am so excited to get to use my brand new mold. This is the IOD mold. I don't remember the name of it, but it's the one with the birds on it. And I'm going to use my DAS clay, and I'm just going to make some simple molds, and we're going to put these on that magnetic board. Now, the IOD molds are very, very easy to work with. They have like a little lip on the end of them where you can just push your finger and get a perfect mold every time. Then after I get them all finished, I go and pop them in the freezer for at least 15 minutes so that they can kind of harden up, and it makes them so easy to come out. Now look how easy they come out of this. You just have to barely push up on the back of the mold and they just pop right out, and they're beautiful and perfect, and they have the most gorgeous detail that you've ever seen. Now I know that these molds are a little bit more expensive, but I'm just telling you guys, they are amazing. You can use them over and over so you can really get your use out of them, and especially if you sell your crafts, they're really worth having. I'm going to leave a link in the description box. If you go to the store named Milton's Daughter and use Crafty Kathy 10, you get 10% off all your IOD products. I'm going to paint my birds my favorite color, which is Apothecary by DIY. And I just love this paint. It's clay-based and it goes on so easy, and it's just smooth as a baby's bottom. I ordered these napkins from my friend Teresa, and I think that these are gorgeous. It's one of my favorite napkins I've ever seen. And I do the same thing as before, where I wet my brush and I just go around the patterns of where I want to tear the napkin at. I wet it and then I just tear off the piece that I want. Now it's time to put everything on my magnetic board. I'm going to use Type Bond because I really like the way that it goes on. It's very easy to work with. And I've already got my beautiful birds laid down where I want them to go. And so I just put a little bit of Type Bond on the back and place them where they go. I also put this cute little honeybee on there that I had made last week with the resin. Now I'm going to add my little pieces of napkin. So most napkins have 2 or 3 plies. These had 3 plies. So I just put a dab of Mod Podge on my pointer finger and my thumb and kind of rub it. And then I use that to separate the pieces. And so when I get down to just 1 ply, I just lay it down. First I put my Mod Podge down, and then I lay it down, and I use my Saran Wrap over the top of it to make sure there's no wrinkles.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to?
Then I grab my Debbie's DIY white wax and I rub it over each of the clay pieces, and then I just wipe off the excess. And it's so beautiful because that white wax gets down in all the crevices, and you can see every little detail on those birds. Every little feather, everything is so exaggerated, and it's so beautiful. And that's all I did. I hope you like it.
Don't know what to do or what I should say, 'cause I got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name. What's it like to hold his hand when he tells you that you're all he wants? And it's midnight, oh, I'm thinking about him. I have got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name. And I'm running out of time. I wish you felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day.
Hey guys, here's a good spot for me to remind you to hit that little red subscribe button. It's all you have to do to join our family, and we would love to have you. This is a little basket that I found at the thrift store about a year ago. As you can see, it's a duck, and I use it in my kitchen to put my chickens' eggs in. So I took it outside and I gave it 2 coats of a spray shellac so that brownish red color wouldn't come through, and with 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum 2 times Ultra Matte White, she's got a beautiful new look. And see, sometimes it doesn't take much. And it's the same with this beautiful bird. I've had her for quite a while. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with her or when I was going to get around to her, but I've really gotten into birds lately and the whole cottage decor theme, and she's perfect. So as you see, she's already got some brown on her. I decided what I'm going to do is kind of make her look like a concrete bird in a way. So what I did was I took the truffle, which is by Waverly, and I'm just going to paint over the parts where I would distress at, because that brown would be coming through. And I pretty much kind of distressed over the parts that are already colored brown, like the little part on her tail, the little feathers on her wings. I did go around where her beak would be, and then around the bottom part. Then I mixed up some of the mineral chalk paint with some baking soda. Now, I never measure mine, but I do kind of half and half. So, in other words, if I put 1 teaspoon of paint, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of baking soda. It all depends on how thick I wanted it. So, as you can see, I pretty much did half and half. You just stir it up really good. And for my first coat, I'm just going to get the color on there, and that's all I'm looking for with my very first coat. I ended up giving her a total of 3 coats in all. And I always make sure on the second and third coat to kind of pounce it on with my brush. What I mean by pounce it on is put a lot of paint on the end of my brush and literally just pounce it, because if you notice, that's what gives it a good texture and a concrete looking finish. It just gives it that look, and the mineral color is perfect to make anything look like concrete. I also had 2 little gnomes from the Dollar Tree, and they've been sitting on my desk forever. And while I was doing that concrete technique on my birdie boo, I decided to do that on my little gnomes, and I could stick them in my flower pots. So what I did with them is go all over them with a good coat of the truffle, and when it dried, I used that same treatment, which is the mineral chalk paint mixed in with the baking soda, and I pounced them about 2 to 3 times really good. And when I finished painting them, my little birdie boo was dry, so I took some of my Debbie's DIY white wax and I stuck it to her. I put it all over her pretty thick like, and then I just very lightly wiped it off with my little rag. And I like to use microfiber cloths. That's what they tell you to use. And it just seems like it's a little bit softer and it's easier. And also, when I put the mineral chalk paint on my little gnomes, I did not use the Debbie's DIY wax on them because I wanted them to have that grayish finish whenever they were done. And I hope you guys like these. Super easy. My last DIY is my favorite. It's this makeup table. It's wicker, and I got a mirror that goes with it. Now, I got this at that antique flea market that I stopped at a couple of weeks ago, and I think I only paid about $40 or maybe a little bit less than that. But I really like it and I wanted to upcycle it. So I took it outside and I gave it a total of 3 coats of the Rust-Oleum ×2 Ultra Matte White. I just think that white wicker is so pretty. And it was already white, but it was a little grungy white, if you know what I mean. You couldn't really tell the difference, but I could if I saw it. And I always tape my mirror off really good whenever I spray it. And of course, I sprayed it too. I wanted to show you the difference because you may say, why did she even spray it? It looked fine before, but I wanted to show you. The left side has been sprayed and the right side is not. Now in the light, you could tell the difference. So it was really hard for me to tape this while I was doing this project because it was so big and had so many pieces to it, and my camera kept falling. But I did my napkins first and I had them strategically laid out the way that I wanted to use them. And I just used my Mod Podge. You put a good amount of Mod Podge on the wicker where you want it. And then you make sure you pull apart your 3 different plies off of your napkins. I also used a brush that was damp. And like I said, I put down my Mod Podge and you just lay down your napkin and then you use your saran wrap and lay it on top of your napkin and you pull that saran wrap together tightly. And that way the napkin just kind of sinks into that wicker. And then you always have to be careful when you're taking your saran wrap off of your napkin because it can stick too and you'll pull it right back off. So once again, I'm doing that with the little butterfly here. I take all the backing off of it. I put down my Mod Podge and lay it down. And then I use my saran wrap and pull that saran wrap taut, you know, so that it just kind of sinks into the wicker. Now it's very important to use the saran wrap or else it's going to stick to your fingers and everything else. And so when I use my saran wrap, I just pull it from 2 different directions. I hope that you can understand what I'm doing here. It's really hard to explain some things. It's so much easier just to watch me, I think, sometimes because the words don't make sense. I don't know if that even, you know what I'm saying? It's like I can't get to articulate what I'm trying to say. But you just pull your saran wrap from 2 different directions tautly and it will stick on there really well. And the molds are super easy. You just put the tight bond on the back of them wherever you want them to go and you spread it really well. And then you just lay it down where you want it to go. And what I did was took just a simple piece of masking tape and very loosely put that masking tape over the top of it so that it would hold that mold down overnight. And then the next thing in the morning, it's really well and stuck on there. And I did the exact same thing to the bottom of this makeup table, which it was really tough for me to be able to record that part, so I didn't. I just did the exact same thing there as I did to the top. And of course, I had to use my Debbie's DIY white wax on my molds. So all I did was the same thing like before, just brushed it on and very lightly brushed it off. I covered up the mirror so it wouldn't be right in your glare, and it's really hard to film a good picture or take a good picture of a mirror, but I hope that you guys really like this one. It was my favorite of all of these DIYs, and I absolutely love it. I'm always proud when I do any kind of furniture. Also, when I finished, I felt like something was missing. So I took the color Apothecary, which is that green color, and went around the rim of the mirror here. And I think that was the exact perfect thing that it needed. It's still very minimal, but very beautiful. And I love this new cottage decor.
You stayed the same. But if you did,
If you guys have stuck through to the end of this video, I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of y'all, and I pray that God blesses you in the coming week. I hope everybody has a beautiful and blessed Mother's Day. I love all you guys, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I will be seeing y'all very soon. And I have Sabby singing for you today. Everybody's been saying that they miss him, so I thought that he would do a little popping in since he is our executive producer.
Had this conversation more than 10 times. After 9, I still wish you were mine. Haven't ate in 7 days, 'cause I've been up till 6 a.m.
Say hello, everybody. Say hi, I'm back. Say hi, everybody. I had a rough night. My bow tie has slipped off to the side. Say hi, everybody. Not to me, to them. They're watching you. They love you. Woo, they don't know what your breath smells like, though, but they love you. Are you ready to sing our theme song? We haven't sung it in a long time. Do you think you can? Well, here on our channel, we got love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. We got some love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo, baby. Oh, yeah. He did it, guys. I don't know which side to look at. Anyways, we love y'all. We'll see you soon.